Hey there, Christian parents and book lovers. Before we get into today's episode, I need your help. The goal of Bookworthy is to serve you, the listener, readers, parents, grandparents, and even the kids. So I need your input. Help Bookworthy make plans and know how to serve you best by filling out the 2026 listener survey in the show notes. I can't wait to hear what you have to say and what we can do together. Now back to the main event. Welcome to Bookworthy, where we talk about the heart behind the books that your kids are reading. Today, we're talking with children's author and co-host of the Storytellers Shelf podcast, Theresa Marie, who is the author of the Adventures in Oculus series, a middle-grade portal fantasy that transports readers to enchanted realms full of courage, friendship, and discovery. Theresa's story carry Christian undertones blending imagination and faith. Welcome to Bookworthy, Theresa.
Hey everyone, happy to be here, and I'm really excited to talk about my author journey, kind of bit about my podcast and what we do, and
I'm excited to have this chat, but before we get going into the meat of our conversation, we have to do our random question of the week, which is, what is the scariest thing you've ever done for fun?
So just a little backstory about me. I am married to a Mexican American, and his family lives in Mexico, in San Miguel de Allende. So I don't know if you guys know where that is, but that's in the heart of Mexico. It's actually considered to be the center of the world in Mexico. It's one of the oldest areas, and it's got obviously, if you go there, it's got a lot of Spanish elements. It's got the cobblestone streets, etc. So here's a fun fact. So obviously, my husband's family lives there, and his dad, about 2 years ago when we went, we stayed at a rental house that my amazing father-in-law had prepared for us that, we could stay in for like 2 weeks. And we were kind of left to our own devices. And my husband, my kids, and I, we were all hungry, and we wanted to go and get something to eat for dinner, obviously. And it was late, and we'd been traveling all day, and so we wanted to find something. And they don't have like a fast food restaurant in the area. So we had to think, what can we do? Right. So my husband, he Googled a place, and it was like, oh, well, this has a lot of 5-star reviews. Let's go check it out. So we'd go into this area that it's like an older area, but it's not too far from the rental place that we were at. And it has, the Spanish cobblestone streets. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to Mexico, but the streets are not like American streets, especially if you're in the older part of Mexico, because the alleys and the streets themselves are a bit more narrow. And they don't actually have lights on at night, like street lights when you think, and you go, okay, this is an experience, but I guess if there's a 5-star review, let's give it a try. We're very adventurous people, and we like to try those things. So we go looking around. We have the car, and if you've been bumping, when you're driving on cobblestone streets. So it's like a dark alley, and you're going, are we sure we want to do this? So we go, and there's like a neighborhood, and in front we see there's lights, and the lights go into a house. The house is a garage transferred into a restaurant where everybody is there, right? So we go there, and we park the car, and in front of the place where we parked the car, it looks like a house out of, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie The Burbs with Tom Hanks. This house is got large grass, and it's not the house, thank goodness, that we were going to go eat at, but it's across from where we were going to go eat. And I'll go, in my American gringo self, do we want to park the car here? And my husband's like, we'll be fine. Trust me. I grew up in Mexico. This is completely normal. So we go, and it's a house garage that's been converted into a restaurant. It's got like the full kitchen, tables. Now, just to letting you know, the tables are like those playing card type tables. So it's even more funny. Okay, we have to make do with what we can, trying to get some dinner. And then we go there, and we actually have a good time. They had this one dish, I forget the name of it, but basically And if you have my Latino listeners, you guys might know what this is, especially if you're Mexican. This is a very Mexican dish. It's like a flour or a corn type of the base of it, and it's shaped like a sandal, and it has like, I believe it's uh like beans that have been refried, and then it's got like cheese and nopales or nopalitos on the top. So it's like a good like appetizer. My kids were like gobbling it up. They loved it. So that was just the start, sort of appetizer. And then we got like tacos and horchata and everything. It was great. Amazingly, see, this is what happens when you go on an adventure. You meet new people, new experiences. It's a great way to really try something new.
That
Yeah.
does sound fun. I can only imagine as a parent walking into a strange location that's dark and like, I'm going to feed my family here.
Yeah, and there's like no place to go after that because it's like, where do we go? Because there's no like quick kind of just want to get something to eat for dinner. Like, where can I go? I don't know the area.
Sounds like quite the adventure. Well, tell us a little bit about the adventures in Oculus.
As far as inspiration, I started this project about, let's see, 12 to 13 years ago. And it was after the birth of my firstborn, and I wanted to have a creative outlet to go ahead and get writing because I've always kind of have that. Even though I went to business school, I went to U of H business, yay, U of H Cougars. And went to business school, got a degree in marketing, and I know that's totally opposite of having like going into writing, but I've always been very creative. I really wanted to have an outlet because to me being creative is really important, and as a new parent, having a sort of cathartic writing space is very important as well. So I started this as like, I wanted this as a sort of mom kind of love for her babies kind of thing, and it was a lot of love into this meant for my kids because I'm a mom of two. So the story begins where my character, it's a middle grade, so my character has this hand-me-down wardrobe, and he gets it from his mom, who gets it from her grandfather. And that's actually kind of important because that goes into the second book, like why, you know? And so again, it's a portal fantasy. So the wardrobe is important because it's sort of a gateway to get into the land of Oculus. So the character goes to Oculus through this portal. His dog, Leonard, who kind of helps him to get into that world of Oculus. And so when he gets there, he gets to a tundra and it's cold and it's icy, but then there's sort of like the Eskimo type homes around him, and he sees like smoke and everything, coming from the chimneys. And then out of nowhere, there's this giant figure who happens to be a Yeti, because I like Yeti because I'm from the 80s and I think of Harry and the Hendersons. And yes, because that's, like when you're from the 80s, you gotta bring in Harry
Classic.
and the Exists, yes. So I love Yetis. And so my character is a philosophical Yeti who happens to be a wizard. And he helps Dominic along the way. And they go on this quest to help rescue the land of Oculus from this. It's a witch who has a figure of a spider. So like her lower half is like a spider body, kind of like when you think of trying to think of the name of the spider, but Black Widow, like a Black Widow, because I'm from Texas and there are Black Widows in my area. Anyway, and I'm not a big spider person. So, and then also because like I always liked Greek mythology, so she has the snake hair like Medusa, but there's a reason why. So she used to be like this beautiful woman who's like a noble woman. And then because of her lust for power, she turned into a dark figure. So I did that on purpose because I wanted to add layer. Because again, this is about world building. If you're a fantasy writer, it's all about world building. And my inspiration are from my two favorite authors because again, this has Christian undertones. So obviously I can never compare. They are too amazing, too great. It would be Tolkien and C.S. Lewis because like they are my utmost favorite authors in the entire world. So what was your question?
No, you're good. They're just doing a great job telling us about the books. But no, it's great to see those, C.S. Lewis and Tolkien undertones that kind of inspired your unique take on this portal fantasy and just all that Dominic goes through and kind of gets to experience in this new world and discover about himself, which is what usually makes good books.
Yes.
And well, kind of in your description of this book, you call it a middle grade book, but it does seem to kind of bridge between a little bit of YA, young adult, and middle grade. What made you choose to space between the two genres?
So that is a really great question. And a lot of it comes from the fact that I wanted the books to grow with the reader. So, as you know, middle grade starts from age 8 to 12. And I wanted my books to kind of showcase the fact that the main character starts at around 12 years old. And then the goal is 7 books. And so I wanted the character to grow and the reader, the person reading the book, to grow with the character. So I thought it would be kind of like a fun spin on that. Yeah.
Very neat. There's definitely a lot of books that do the books that we enjoy, like Harry Potter or even Lord of the Rings, are those books that kind of grow with you as you get older, that you can return to no matter your age and still enjoy and glean great little truths from. So that's really neat. Kind of what do you hope kids walk away from with your books?
I wanted people to seek truth because that's part of it. Like in that sort of C.S. Lewis is like it's that truth telling, and to see in the books friendship, courage, and a sense of hope. I've always been one of those people that I don't know if you like, I grew up with my parents, they're boomers, right? And my mom, she loved stories that had, the triumph over evil. And I'm the same way. And again, that's how I grew up is like, good triumph over evil and creating that truth telling and creating that where we create critical thinkers in storytelling because that's part of it is to get those kids to read. And that's something that I see as both as a mom, as an author, and the fact that I have a podcast that we are seeing a lack of literacy right now in kids, and we want to get kids reading again. So we have to create books that inspire them to read.
Yes, totally agree. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your podcast, the Storytellers Shelf podcast?
So the Storyteller Show podcast was sort of started between me and my amazing co-host, Jackie Garcia Morales. She's from New Jersey and I'm here in Houston. And we're like, let's do a podcast. And funny enough, we actually have not met in person yet, but we met on LinkedIn. And she works in publishing and she saw my books and she was like, oh my gosh, I love your books. They look amazing. Let's have a conversation. And so then we had a conversation. It lasted for 4 hours. And then we kept talking and back and forth, little by little, you know how it is. We had such a good conversation. I was like, what do you think about doing a podcast? Because again, it goes back to being a mom, being an author, and seeing that there is a need to really hype up. We got to get kids reading again. And we wanted something where we had authors because we see a lack of, since I am a self published author, that we want to have traditional and self published to be able to sit and have a conversation without a stigma, because there's still somewhat of a stigma for self-published authors. And so and she and I have the same conversation that we need to have inspiration, demystifying publishing. How does publishing work? Because there's so many, and I always like to use this analogy a lot when we have guests on. Like we recently had Lois Lowry on. Oh my gosh, she's the OG. That's what I like to say.
Most definitely.
And she gave us so much insight. She said, writing has become more about how many words that you can have And it should be really about what you're writing about, not how many words. It's basically for us as a podcast, again, this is our first season and we want to grow, and we are having a book drive that's coming up for helping in our community, but we work with nonprofits like coming on our podcast. We just did one with Books Between Kids. And since I'm in Houston, we actually partner with them for our book drive. And then we have authors on. We're about to have an episode with Kwame Mambelia and Max Bogery. But, think of the Wizard of Oz. And you have the gatekeeper guy, and he's like, don't ring that bell. And, or like where you have the wizard and he has the curtain, and then you take the curtain and it's this old man and he's holding the keys of Oz, basically. No, we want to take that out and show the wizard, because there's a lot of misinformation of how publishing works, especially for self-published authors.
Well, it sounds like a very interesting podcast, just kind of taking that mystery of publishing and kind of taking a deeper look at what it takes to be published, what even is a publishing house, what do they do, and all that. I love that, and definitely will be having to listen myself, because I'm self-published too. So it's one of those, like, you got to figure it all out on your own. So you got to be the whole house yourself.
Yes, exactly. We're just like Bert from Mary Poppins, where we're like doing the song and dance, and we have all the instruments all at once as self-published authors, and we're having to figure this out. And there's like where do we turn to? We have to create quality books. That is the most important thing. Did you know publishing professionals, such as the big 5 or big 6, they still miss edits, and you might see some oopsies in the books. So it doesn't matter if it's traditional, guys, as long as it's a quality book. Let's go back to that. So that's my little soapbox rant.
I love it. I think we could probably start a podcast all on our own for just that topic, because it's one of those unique elements where, quality books is the goal, not just words on a page. And, there's kind of a little bit of a loss in that, and in the children's book section especially.
Yes. Oh, yes.
It's very interesting. Theresa, tell us a little bit about what is your favorite book?
Yes, so many. I can't tell you how many things that I love. Anne of Green Gables. I grew up reading Anne of Green Gables as a kid. Who doesn't love Anne, and the fact that she's so feisty? So
I like her. I'm raising my hand to say I do like her.
She's like my favorite character. The fact that she tells the truth. She has a huge imagination, because she's always saying things like, you don't have an imagination.
A lake of shining waters
and things like that. She has resilience because she was an orphan and she was raised by not so nice people. And then she got adopted by amazing people like Marilla and Matthew. Oh my gosh, I love Matthew. And if you've ever seen the Canadian version from the 80s,
it's the best.
Oh my gosh, I get teary-eyed thinking about Matthew, because he was so amazing.
Yes.
And there's so much joy. And it shows friendship, like what is a kindred spirit. I only learned that terminology from Anne of Green Gables, a kindred spirit. So, yeah, one of my favorite books. Yeah.
I love that. It's definitely a favorite of mine too, and relate to Anne a lot. And I'm a redhead and a bit of a fiery personality myself. So
my late mother was a redhead, and I get a lot of my personality from my mom. So, yeah.
Well, then you're kind of an honorary redhead then, for starting.
Yes. I put highlights.
Well, Theresa, what can we expect next from you?
I'm very excited to share this. So in this month of September, it's going to be the later end of September, but I will be re-releasing with an amazing new cover and more the first book.
Bonuses.
So it's more bonus material. So please, I will be sharing that on my author website and as well on my podcast, because my co-host is really great about sort of shouting me out and being like an extra cheerleader, like, go me. So yes, I will be sharing that as well as in my newsletter. And I'm actually in the process of querying from 2 picture books, and I'm working on a chapter book. And then as far as for our podcast, I haven't shared this with anyone, so you're the first to hear this. Besides that it is a podcast, but it's going to be under an umbrella of an LLC that my co-host and I have been working tirelessly with an amazing law firm. It's still like we're still finishing all the paperwork, but we've already filed and we're at that. So it's going to be called, of course, we still have our podcast. It stays the same as the podcast. But as far as the media name, because we have a lot of things that we're going to be growing, like, for example, publicists, paid ARC readers, and then just one of the goals in a couple of years. So just one of our goals is to start a small traditional publishing house, but that's long term. We have to build from that. But yeah, so that's on the horizon. So the media name is called the Storyteller Foundation LLC.
Sounds very exciting with a lot going on. So I'm sure that that's going to be fun to keep track of. And we'll make sure to have links to your website and the podcast in the show notes for people to find you easily. Well, thank you, Theresa, so much for joining me today.
Thank you. It's been great talking to you. And I hope to continue this conversation at a later time as well. So yes.
Love to have you back for sure. And thank you for joining Theresa and me on this episode of the Bookworthy Podcast. Check the show notes for any books or links that we discussed, and let us know in the comments what is the scariest thing you've ever done for fun. And be sure to like and subscribe to discover more great books together. Happy reading!